Here's something funny I've realized about working with coaches and consultants and speakers to package their expertise. They almost always have the gold, the goods. It's staring them in the face. But as we all know, we're way too close to what we do to see it objectively. That's kind of one of the best things I love about what I do. What I'm really good at is pulling the spaghetti out, getting it all out on the table, and putting it back together so it makes sense. This I find is the key to branding the work that you do, packaging your expertise so you can get out of the charging by the hour game and into the in demand space where you work with more of your favorite clients. You get the calls and the emails that you want to see from big speaking opportunities, and you truly love what you do. What I'm here to tell you is that that's not something you need to invent about yourself. In today's episode, we're going to dive into the gold that you already have and how you can start to leverage it, package it, and start to build your very own framework pyramid. The three types of frameworks worth having in your business. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand that concept and know how to start pulling the pieces together. Are you ready? Let's do it. Welcome to the Establish Yourself podcast, the show that helps coaches and consultants get clear on how to talk about what you do, simplify your offers, and have more fun in your business and beyond. I'm Annie Franceschi, brand strategist, author, former Disney storyteller, and forever Muppet fan. I'm here to help you clarify your message, package your expertise, and streamline your systems to grow a business you actually enjoy. If you're ready for less confusion and more magic, it's time to establish yourself. Welcome back to the Find Your Frameworks series. This is episode 2. Last week in episode 1, we talked about what frameworks actually are and why they matter, how they can move you from just creating random posts and content to being that credible authority, how they're going to make you memorable, referable, and more in demand. But here's the thing. Not all frameworks are created equal. In my experience, some serve as your calling card, some become teaching tools, and others sticky little phrases that people repeat and associate with you. That's why today we're going to talk about the framework pyramid. This is a concept I created, and I have a wonderful example of how this works. It was just a few weeks ago when I worked with Michelle Edelin, a powerful leadership and professional development coach and an incredible speaker. She came to me because she had a keynote that was working, but she wanted to add a workshop and maybe a group coaching program, but didn't quite know how to take what she was talking about already and extend it. I took one look at what Michelle had been doing and realized she already had the gold. Like so many people I work with, she had the goods, as they say, but sometimes it takes someone pulling the story out to make it all make sense and become that branded framework and the thing that you are known for. I was so excited to partner with her on my signature program, Package Your Process with the Expert. Michelle came to our first session having learned from my Package Your Process training. I'm going to share with you what she came up with and where we landed. I'm Michelle, and I offer Confidence Clarity Communication, a leadership training workshop including elevated leadership presence, improved leadership communication and influence, and decisive leadership at all levels so your organization can build a culture of confident, empowered leaders who drive innovation and growth. What I shared with Michelle is that sounded good, generally speaking, but I don't know if I connected to it, and I didn't really get to the heart of it, and I challenged both of us to look more closely at what she had already started with the story of excellence. We got all the spaghetti out on the table and pulled together her core brand chips messaging so that she can tell a story about this workshop and other offers that are going to come down the pike. Here's what we came up with instead. I'm Michelle, and as a proven executive leader who's trained 25,000 plus people, I offer Speak Your Excellence, a leadership training workshop to help you and your team command the room, speak with clarity, and get buy-in so you can go from silent observers to confident contributors. Do you hear the difference? It came so clearly through in the work that we did that what Michelle is passionate about is helping empower employees, teams, and the organizations she partners with to speak up, to speak their excellence. And we realized that we had a framework, we had a way of approaching this where her broader signature framework that she's working on developing is all about excellence. We created a naming formula for all of these signature systems and sticky phrases like speak your excellence. Her keynote is activate your inner excellence. We were able to brand yet another offer, which was her team coaching program, and that became Connect Your Excellence, a team coaching program to help get everyone on the same page, clearly communicating expectations and producing work that matters. So leaders are heard, teams deliver, and the organization thrives. And here's what's awesome. Within just a few weeks of us working together, Michelle has already booked her first Speak Your Excellence workshop. Having her clear framework name and positioning made it so much easier for her to talk about what she offers and for clients to understand what they're actually going to get. All of that came from a willingness to pull out the gold that was already there, that Michelle was already getting traction on. And I think it's a beautiful example of how we can start to implement the idea of a framework pyramid and an ecosystem that helps us move from just being random thought leaders to true authorities, people who are in demand. So, with Michelle's story in mind, let me break down what I call the framework pyramid. Three types of frameworks that work together to build your authority. Think of it as three levels stacked on top of each other. Signature frameworks are at the top. These are your calling cards, the big methods that you want to be known for. Supportive systems are in the middle. These are your step by step teaching tools. And sticky phrases are at the base. These are your memorable brand vocabulary terms. They're what make your ideas easy to share. Let's take the first one, signature frameworks, your calling card. These are the biggies, the methods or models you most want to be known for. They're what people might put in your bio. It's what's going to get you booked for keynotes, and often the thing a client's going to hire you for first. As I already touched on indirectly, this is what Package Your Process is for me. That is my 4-step system for turning your expertise into signature offers. This is my primary offer, and it's one of the reasons people come to me. This is the work I did with Michelle. Position yourself as an expert, craft a branded solution, make it visual and easy to explain, and sell it with ease, not sleaze. Another great example of a signature framework is Wendy Gates Corbett's Energy of Belonging. You may remember from a few episodes ago, Wendy repositioned her entire business from being a slide design and presentation consultant to being a belonging expert. She centered all of her work around the energy of belonging, and that's the title of her book, and it is what she is known for with her keynote, and is the thing that is bringing people to her and helping her reposition her story. There's also Kimberly Benoit. Kim and I worked together to write her brand voice guide and to help guide her through scaling her practice. She came to me with a book and a podcast called We've All Done It. I recommended to her that we start talking about her as the creator of the We've All Done It leadership framework. This is the way to position herself as a leader in this space, is to not just say I have a book and a podcast, but to really refine that as a true signature framework. Her framework is all about embracing relatable leadership, the idea that change starts from within, when we realize we're just as guilty as the toxic leaders that we all take issue with. What all of these have in common is that they are high leverage. Signature frameworks can drive an entire business model. So when you're thinking about signature frameworks, this is when you probably don't want to have more than 2 to 3 at a time. For me, it's package your process and establish yourself. Those are the two biggest things I'm known for publicly, but I have a lot more to my ecosystem, and I'm willing to bet you do too. And that is where the middle and the bottom part of the pyramid come into play. The next two parts of the pyramid, the middle and the base, are things that could just as easily be signature frameworks, but they're playing more supportive roles in the work you do. The whole point of having a top is to have a primary. The middle part of the pyramid are supportive systems. Think of these as your teaching tools. They are step-by-step processes, models, methodologies that support your core signature work. They may make what you do more teachable, replicable, scalable. A really essential supportive system in my business is my brand chips messaging formula, CHIPS. This is an acronym I use in nearly every interaction I have with coaches, consultants, and speakers when I help them talk about what they do. I do this in my private work, like I did with Michelle. I do it as part of it is the underlying framework that drives my referral message creator, my free tool to help you write your 3 sentence referral blurb that you can use to help people make connections and introductions for you. It powers so much of what I do, and it's a key principle of packaging your process and establishing yourself. Another recent example of this is my Better Boss method. This is BETTER. That acrostic gives people 6 specific ways to be a better boss to themselves without losing clients. Build your week, embrace your energy, take time for yourself, take time for magic, establish expectations, and rewrite your role. This is a supportive system for me. It's something I use to talk about one of the key themes of the core work I do, which is helping people to scale their business, to talk more clearly about what they do so they can enjoy their business more. The Better Boss method is about enjoying your business more. It gives me a way to teach it, a way to remember it for myself, a way for others to remember it too. So it is not the core work I do, but it helps me accomplish that action. Going back to last week's episode, I talked about Stan Phelps. Stan has built an entire supportive system around multiple ways of looking at the goldfish metaphor. He's known as the goldfish guy or the goldfish growth person as a signature framework. His supportive systems are purple goldfish, pink goldfish, silver goldfish, green goldfish, all things he's used to tie to different topics and come up with new stories to relate to client experience or working across generations. Now, Chris Lessy, who's in the data visualization and evaluation space, he has what he calls his OC framework, OSEE. This helps folks who do data visualization and illustration approach it with thoughtful goals. So OSEE stands for organize, spotlight, engage, and enhance. This gives him a way to teach best practices in a very smart and memorable system. Supportive systems are things that make your work stick because they show your thinking in action. At the bottom of the pyramid are sticky phrases, memorable terms that make your ideas easy to share and repeat. These are words in your brand vocabulary. These often start small, but they can become signature elements over time. You may have heard me talk about spaghetti thoughts. That's my coined name for the brain dumping process that I use, how I get all my ideas out and organized. It's exactly how I came up with the Better Boss method. You may have heard me talk about how I take the month of December off. Well, I'm willing to bet that most people in my world and many of my clients know exactly what that's called. It's called Batch December. That's where I batch really key work for myself during the year, where I work on my business instead of in it. Last week, I talked about my client, Marcy Rader. Marcy has many of these terms in her business as well. One of her concepts are called design days. Marcy will do a design day to design how you really want to show up in your business and get to the things you can never get to. These are things that align well for her because she talks about health powered productivity, not just productivity for endless output, but productivity that is sustainable and nourishing. Design days are a core part of that. She practices what she preaches, but that term design day is a sticky phrase. Sticky phrases are things that build recognition and help others spread your ideas in their own words. I am willing to bet that you have at least one sticky phrase you are using or could be using, and I want to challenge you to talk about it more and to write it down. So let's bring all this together. When you stack the 3 levels together, sticky phrases at the base, supportive systems in the middle, and signature frameworks at the top, you get an ecosystem of intellectual property. Now you're not just posting tips or giving advice by the hour. You are building an asset library. It's one that's going to position you as the go-to expert in your niche. It's going to make it way easier for clients to get what you do. It's going to give you content and stories that you can use over and over again. And it's going to create opportunities to pivot and scale without having to start from scratch. And here is my favorite part. Just like Michelle, you probably have pieces of all three levels already. You just need help to spot them, to name them, to put them together strategically. That's where I come in. If you're listening to this thinking, I know I've got stuff here, but I just can't quite see it, that's exactly the kind of work I help folks do. In my free consultation, we'll talk about your goals, what's working, and where your frameworks could be helping you stand out more. And I'll walk you through how we can work together to make that happen. Whether you're pivoting or you want to define your signature method, you're working on expanding your business and you want to package your expertise into this kind of an ecosystem, we will explore the right way to partner so you can leave with a clear path and a story going forward. If you're curious to talk with me about it, head to greateststorycreative.com/consult to hop on my calendar and book a free call. As we pull all this together, I want you to remember the framework pyramid gives you a way to think about your business assets. Sticky phrases at the base. These are your memorable coined concepts. Supportive systems are in the middle. These are step-by-step teaching tools. Signature frameworks at the top. Those are your calling cards, the things you want to be known for. When you intentionally develop all three levels, you're going to create a body of work that elevates your credibility, increases your rates, and makes you unforgettable in your space. Now, next week, I'll be back with the third and final episode in the Find Your Framework series. And in it, I'm going to show you exactly how I leverage frameworks once you have them. Because having great frameworks and methods and models, that's only half the battle. The real magic happens when you put them to work to grow your practice. Hey, do you like surprises? The credits are about to roll, but just like a Marvel movie, stick around to the end for something I put in just for you. Thanks for listening to the Establish Yourself podcast. I'm Annie Franceschi, and if you're enjoying the show, it would mean so much to me if you follow it, leave a quick rating, or share it with a friend. And for free branding resources and more ways to work together, head to greateststorycreative.com/podcast. Now here it is, your moment of magic. So at home, we have many new sticky phrases because I have a 5.5-year-old, and I'm going to teach you one right now. Yikes a tuna. If you're overwhelmed or you think something's silly and you want to have an exclamation like, oh dip, oh man, in my house, we say, yikes a tuna.